Welcome back to the Scaredy Cat Guide, my friends. My name is Ginny, and today we are talking about Monsters Unchained in Universal's Epic Universe. If you're new here, this is the channel where we talk about theme parks and anxiety, we talk about sensory issues, and really just anything that you might want to know if you're an anxious rider like I am. Now, Monsters Unchained is actually an attraction I have never done before, and I am not gonna lie, you guys, I am feeling nervous. Now, we do have Express Pass today. I'm really hoping I'll be able to get some footage of the actual queue, the rest of the queue, because I like to show you guys what to expect with the full experience, not with Express Pass. So we'll make sure that you see exactly what you're gonna expect, but right now, I'm about to hop in the Express lane. So without further ado, let's dive into those details. This spooky attraction contains darkness, some disorienting maneuvers, loud sound design, and of course, lots and lots of monsters. Now, this attraction also contains water and sensory effects, some flashing lights, and a pretty claustrophobic ride system. So let's start off by talking about those sensory elements. Now, not only do we have some pretty serious flashing lights and strobe effects, but we also have a few water and even flame effects that really make this spooky encounter a sensory nightmare as well. All of this combined with the darkness, the jump scares, and really loud sound design really make this attraction not so friendly in the sensory department. Now, on top of all of this, you'll also encounter some pretty disorienting maneuvers. It's a lot like what you'll find over on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. As another Kuka arm-based ride, you'll find yourself swinging forwards and back, side to side, and really in every direction as you make your way through the show scenes. I will say that I find Monsters Unchained a good bit smoother than Forbidden Journey. Of course, there's a few bumpy moments as well, but for the most part, the ride itself feels a whole lot less jarring, even with the addition of a few jump scares. Now, speaking of jump scares, let's actually talk about how scary it is. As expected, you'll find tons of monsters along this ride's runtime, all of which have intentionally spooky character design. Along with the creepy visuals, these characters really come to life in the form of animatronics and even some well-placed screens. These monsters roar at you, they chase you, and overall have a very menacing presence throughout the entire attraction. In fact, most of them are actually larger than life, coming in at around 9 feet tall. Now, the jump scares, while brief, are pretty darn effective, and I found myself jumping even after riding this thing 3 times. The most notable jump scares for me were the creature from the Black Lagoon, who you'll encounter after your ride vehicle suddenly tilts downward, and the Wolfman, who not only sprays water on you at one point, but also jumps out just in time for that ride picture. While the rest of the ride can feel kind of jumpy in general, those two really stood out to me. Now finally, let's talk about that claustrophobic ride system. Now, backing up a little, I was actually pretty surprised at how not confining the actual queue felt. I was expecting a whole lot more tight, dark corridors and low ceilings, but overall the queue felt pretty open, albeit very dark and, well, spooky. Now, the ride itself is almost identical to what you'll find on Forbidden Journey. You'll be seated in a Kuka arm ride system along with 4 other guests. And we of course have an overhead ride restraint or harness, just like on Forbidden Journey. And just like that other ride system, I didn't feel too terribly confined, mostly because there is a bit of room between your chest and the restraint. Now, that being said, I did feel extremely secure, even though there are a few moments where you're tilted in such a way that you can actually see the track below you. Even though you don't feel very high up, seeing just how far off the ground you really are can be a little bit startling, so watch out for that. Now, really quick, let's talk about motion sickness. While I personally didn't have any issues with this ride, it's certainly worth noting that we do have a good bit of that disorienting motion, rushing visuals, and quite a few elements overall that could lend themselves to motion sickness. However, even though this is the exact same ride system as the very notorious Forbidden Journey, it seems that most people don't feel nearly as sick on this attraction. This, of course, could be due to the smooth new ride system, or maybe how crisp and immersive the screens and show scenes are, but regardless, it definitely doesn't seem to have the same effect. Now let's talk about that ride duration. Monsters Unchained clocks in at almost exactly 4 minutes long. Now, this is very typical for other dark rides like it, and if you are feeling a little uneasy about any of the elements on this attraction, you can rest assured knowing that you will be on and off of it in a matter of just a few minutes. And now that you have all the facts, let's actually go hop in line. Now, we're sitting in a 20-minute wait, which really isn't bad at all for this attraction. We're here pretty early in the morning. I'm really nervous, but we're gonna have a great time, so let's go ride this together. You'll find the entrance to this attraction in the Dark Universe section of Universal's Epic Universe. Now, lucky for you, almost the entire queue takes place inside. So we've got some of that amazing AC, especially on a particularly hot day like it was today. And once entering the building, you'll find yourself in a few dark hallways, some really spooky rooms. Now, the theming here is incredible. Some of the props were like nothing I have ever seen. Everything looks so real. And as I was walking through every single room, I found myself wanting to stay longer and take a look at everything. It really is so immersive and totally worth checking out, even if you don't do the ride itself. I will say it is pretty spooky. It's dark, you've got that loud sound design, you've got flashing lights and lightning, buzzing electricity and things like that. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart in the sensory department, or even really just in the scary department. But if you love special effects and you love that really immersive theming, or just Universal Monsters in general, I really cannot recommend it enough. Now, after winding your way through some of these rooms, you will come upon the first part of the pre-show. Now here you will meet Igor on screen as he describes the ride system to you and preps you for meeting Victoria Frankenstein. You can get a pretty good visual of the ride system here, even though this Kuka arm is maybe a little bit crazier than the actual attraction, just for shock value, but it's still a pretty good visual of what you can expect here. Now, in the very next room, you will meet Dr. Victoria Frankenstein herself. She will introduce you to this ride's premise, which is basically gaining control over Count Dracula, which, as you will see, does unfortunately go awry. Now, after passing through this pre-show, you will make your way towards the loading station. Now, this is actually very, very similar again to Forbidden Journey and even to Kali River Rapids. Interestingly enough, what you'll find is a circular turntable with a moving belt that you will step onto and then get into the ride vehicle from there. Like many other attractions with a moving belt, it can feel a little bit disorienting if you don't have your sea legs. But of course, there are accessibility options available, so be sure to ask a team member if that applies to you. Now, once boarding the ride vehicle, you will make your way slowly around the loop until the ride commences. Now, what ensues from here is 4 minutes of action-packed shenanigans. You will encounter monster after monster as Count Dracula does inevitably escape and gather his forces. Now, just a side note here, if you do want the scene for scene walkthrough and really just want to know exactly what to expect, when to expect it, be sure to check out my POV video. It is already up on the channel, so go check that out. Now, as you go from show scene to show scene, you will encounter these monsters. Like I said, they will chase you, roar at you, and overall just be pretty scary and menacing altogether. You will, of course, encounter some of those water effects, the flame effects, the jump scares. There's really so much going on in this attraction, but all in all, it makes for a really, really fun time. Now, luckily, by the end of the attraction, you are able to wrangle Count Dracula once again, and everybody is saved. Well, except for Igor. Bless his heart. Now, after this, your ride vehicle will make its way back to the unloading station, where you will disembark and head towards the exit. Now, like with many other attractions, exiting is very straightforward here. You'll just make your way down a dark hallway, make your way into the gift shop, where you can, of course, look at your ride photo, and then you'll just make your way back outside into the rest of Dark Universe. And there we have it. What do you think about Monsters Unchained? I am not gonna lie, you guys, I was so nervous to ride this attraction. I told everyone in my party that I wanted to do this first thing in the morning, first ride of the day, just so I didn't chicken out. And I am so glad that I rode it. It is so fun. I actually ended up riding it 3 times altogether. So if you can handle those sensory elements and some of that scariness, I really, again, cannot recommend it enough. I am a big fan of Universal Monsters, of horror and that kind of thing, so I know that thematically this is right up my alley. However, I was really nervous, especially about some of those sensory effects, because they do not always play super nice with my anxiety. But again, I am so glad I did it. It is definitely one of my favorite rides, really of all time at this point. It is incredible. But I want to know what you think. Did you like this ride? Do you find it scary? Do you find it overstimulating or overwhelming? And I want to hear about that motion sickness. Did this one make you as sick as Forbidden Journey? So don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Really quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Jake for his footage of the queue. Thank you so much for letting us use it to give you guys a really good look, especially since I was going through the express lane today. Now, as always, if you liked this video and would like to see more like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, stick around, stay a while. We would love to have you in our little community of anxious writers. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.